Perfect. All right. And I'm so OCD, I usually go through and mute folks who need a helping hand, but I can't do it. So we are recording now, and welcome. This is meeting 2 of the school year. So those of you, this may be your first meeting, I just want you to know you're good. You've only missed one. I'm Kim Eckert, and right now I'm serving in the state coordinator role for Educators Rising, but I also teach the class and wear many, many hats like many of you do. No teacher's a one-trick pony. So what we are meeting for tonight is to actually go through the details of state conference. So this is something that I've been getting a lot of emails for. And I told you to wait till the end of this, the calendar year, that we'd have all the details for you. And then we're also going to talk a little bit about 3 regional conferences that announce dates. And I have been trying to email as I get that information. And we'll talk a little bit about what the differences are and what you need to know to be able to attend, state and all the regional conferences, or state and 1 regional conference. So things work very differently in our sphere as we are creating it together. And so what regional means for us might be very different than what regional might mean for a beta club or a 4-H club or something like that. So welcome again, everybody. And I'm going to share my screen and just do a very quick sort of overview. I feel so much happier whenever I have like a good slide deck, even though this one only has like a slide pretty much. But what we are going to start off with, I do want to share success. So those of you, I think some of you have clubs, some of you have classes that have started, some of you have classes that started in August and your class is ending in December because you're on block schedule. So I just wanted to open it up to all of you, if you wanted to share any amazing successes that you've got with your chapter, whether it's a club or a class so far. So I'll give you some time to please come off mute. You don't have to come off video, just come off mic and share with us if you've had a really cool experience that you want to share. With Educators Rising. And you're
Hey Kim, this is Megan Schoper from Rapides Parish.
Hey.
Hey, okay, so I'm definitely not coming off of my little screenshot, picture there because I'm in my robe.
But, no explanation needed on these calls. Yeah. We get it.
So I wanted to give a shout out to Rapides Parish because we started the pre-educator pathway in August. We're brand new to this as far as the pathway goes. We have the clubs, the Educators Rising clubs with over 200 members and 16 schools involved. But we have 4 schools on the high school side that's implementing this pre-educator pathway. And we were awarded last month by LDOE as the Models of Excellence for our early implementation of the pre-educator pathway. So I just want to give a shout out to all of our hardworking teachers that are driving this bus that's somewhat on fire and, the wheels are falling off, but we're keeping it going and figuring it out. And it's just, it's been a pleasure to work with these wonderful ladies.
Thank you so much for that. And that is definitely news that's amazing to share. So yeah, that's a new initiative from LDOE, the Models of Excellence. And part of my time there, I was like, you've got to have an award for the pre-educator pathway. And everybody was very excited and recognizing that even with COVID, Rapides Parish has been building a very strong model. And in a place where education, I think, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, Megan, but like, I'm pretty sure a teaching career is a high paying job within the area. And I'm from Marksville, so I understand, but that is a place where that pipeline is critical. And I think that the largest employer might be Rapides Parish School Board. So just such an interesting and vibrant part of the state, and critical to have a grow your own program, and you're doing it so well. So thank you for that. And definitely a team effort. So I was able to see the pictures, I was able to share those, and it really is exciting. Super proud. All right, anybody else want to share?
Hey, Micah Bruce Davis from UL Lafayette. So we went from starting off with 4 members to 28 for our collegiate. So we had really well attended our last meeting and are super excited for our continued growth.
That is so awesome, and another testament, because if you're just starting out, because there's critical teacher shortage and because we've got issues, it is difficult to recruit at first. But then like word of mouth and it all builds and you're a part of that because every single person on this call is an ambassador for this massive work that's really never been done successfully in the state. So I love that, Micah, that you started off with 4 and now you're at 28. So to anybody else, you're like, we can't pay people to come to the meeting. You're fine. You're normal. Thus educators rising, right? All right, anybody else want to share success?
I'd like to share something. So, hi everyone. I'm from, can you hear me? I'm from East Baton Rouge Parish, and my sweet husband and I are empty nesters, so we're decorating our Christmas tree tonight, and what a fiasco. We're still married though. Anyway.
The night's still young.
Yes, it is, if he doesn't kill me before the night's over. But anyway, we shall endure. But anyway, this is our first year in East Baton Rouge Parish to have our own Connect to Teach, and we have 16 members. We have 2 sponsors, and one Miss Moses teaches the class, and things are going really well. I think my favorite thing is the connection to the elementary school right next door, which has a huge Hispanic population. And so the kids are really tied in there. And in the spring, they're going to do their first big event together as ambassadors from the Connect to Teach Educator Rising program with the kids at the elementary school. So I'm super excited about that.
That is so awesome, Miss Morrison. And I will tell everybody on the call, she is a profile in resilience because from the very beginning, EBR is a very large district and any initiative is hard to launch in a super, super large district. And like literally never giving up, staying the course, no matter what the turnover was for like the upper levels, like continuing to say, no, but we need this. Okay, hello, new person. Yes, but we need this. And that's hard. It's hard to create and sustain a movement whenever there's so much flux, but never forgetting why it's so critical to be able to do that. So thank you. I'm just like happy to know you. You're amazing.
It is ditto for sure.
Oh, okay. So Danita put that her class doesn't begin to the spring. Till the spring. Don't you guys worry. She'll have all the successes each time we meet in the spring because I know how she rolls. She's just super cool. She does amazing things. So Danita Tate in the chat box is a wonderful resource, but I believe her program is block. And again, they start in the spring, but just look out. Don't you dare apologize, girl. Like you're amazing. All right. Do we have anybody else that wants to share?
I have one.
Okay.
So this is Katie Williams from McNeese State University. I was going to do kind of a celebration for Lori, who's not on the call tonight, but just a celebration on our end. She and our Rowdy Rising Ed Risers in our collegiate group collected canned goods and brought them to another university that was hit by Hurricane Ida and delivered all of that. And so they're really looking at service goals and how to help, other educators even across the state. So I thought that was a really good shout out for a service project they really took the initiative with this fall.
That is incredible. Thank you so much. And I think that it's easy to get sort of caught up in Educators Rising, really any grow your own program with, when are the clinicals and the observant, but the thing is, like teachers, the greatest of us understand that serving the community is what we do, right? Like providing this amazing service and blanket and security and support and love is what we do. And I love that is a space that McNeese has experienced far more than any area should, and is paying so much of that forward and continuing to sustain that in its student members. So that's really exciting. All right, anybody else?
I just want to say that once we have our regional conference date, and
Dr. Weems?
We have a puppy, a Christmas puppy.
I know that voice.
Yes.
Christmas puppy. Okay, sorry.
We will be announcing our first 2 $6,000 scholarships at our regional conference, thanks to our $100,000 grant from Regions Bank. So if you have Regions Bank, hallelujah.
Oh my gosh.
Our tentative date, I want to make sure it doesn't overlap with anybody else's, is February 3rd. And that is when we will be announcing how the students can apply for those scholarships. So super, super excited.
I'm super excited. And Dr. Weaves tells you no lies. If you're near a Regions Bank, it started back with Dream Teachers, just so you understand like the networking and the connectivity of all of this. Dream Teachers is a huge supporter of Educators Rising. In fact, they're partners and sponsors, and Regions Bank is a sponsor of that. So if you have one nearby, you should go talk to them, because they are definitely very, very supportive of anything that Educators Rising does, because they're huge supporters of anything that Dream Teachers does, which is, no big deal, just, all of the teaching profession and everything. So thank you for that. That is very exciting. And I love that we're building like scholarships. Like, we're already there. This is great. There are some messages in the chat about more announcements. So I see teacher leader Nicole Bailey is doing awesome things. Oh, you're so right. The kids are the greatest advertisements. That's true. Never forget that. If you have a program that's going already, bring students with you for anybody and bring people inside, because you then become everything that people want to see, like the actual program in action. And that's really exciting. So I would like to turn it over now. If you look at the rest of our agenda, we're going to talk about state conference. So we teased it a bit in October whenever we met, but we got a lot of the details secured now. And whenever Amy is finished telling us all about state conference, I'm going to invite anybody who's present on behalf of McNeese or LSUA to speak to us, to tell us about their regional conference. NSU, Jesse Church, she couldn't be here tonight, but don't you worry. I've got all the information for you. And then I have an ask. I have an ask for sharing responsibility with you that we'll talk a little bit about for state officers. So for now, I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to turn it over to Amy, and she is going to tell us all the wonderful things about the state conference that we're all super excited about. Over to you, Amy.
I'm so glad that y'all are excited, and it just makes me so happy, because I think, we're just like, I hope everybody comes. Like, I hope people come. And so we're just like really, really thankful for anybody who will be participating, really. So we are very open to any feedback as you hear these details. We are still very much in the planning of this, but we kind of based everything off of the national conference. And so this is the information for the national conference. It is in Washington, D.C., June 24th through 27th, and their theme is Shaping the Future. So we tried to get a date that aligned with their early bird registration, which is due by April 4th. So our conference is going to be on Friday, March 11th at the UL Lafayette Student Union. So the rooms are secure. We have the entire ballroom. We have 8 different breakout rooms. We have 3 competition rooms. We have a landing zone. Like, it's happening. We are 95% certain about 2 sponsoring grants, one from State Farm and one from the Pew Family Foundation. And so we're trying really, really hard to bring down the cost as much as possible. So we're thinking like $15. So just to, have a heads up, if I feel like $15 is in like the bake sale range, whereas, $300 is not. With that in mind, though, the registration for the national conference for the early bird date is $300. So I just think it would be so amazing to have a group of Louisiana aspiring educators represented at the national conference. So we are pretty certain that we're going to be able to provide 10 prizes of the national conference registration stipend. So I know it's exciting. So there will be 2 winners in each of the 5 categories who will each receive the stipend to go to the national conference. So please come. Please encourage your kids, your students, your aspiring educators to come and attend. Our theme, we did a little nod to our, local state with Let's Go. So our theme is Let's Go, the time to shape the future is now. So we connected it to that national theme of shaping the future and really just gave it a little local twist. So again, Friday, March 11th in the UL Lafayette Student Union. The hours that we chose are from 8:30 to 4. I think that's on the save the date coming up. So 8:30 registration will begin. Everything will start at 9 o'clock, and then everything will be over at 4. We toyed with the idea of an evening event. We wanted to make sure that everybody could get home in time if you had a 3-hour drive away. So again, open to feedback, but right now we're looking at 8:30 registration. Everything starts at 9 and it's over at 4. These are the 5 competitions that we chose. Depending on who you serve, the job interview is the only one that, according to the national conference, it's only offered for high school. So that's the only one. Everything else is open to high school and collegiate members. And so what we told our collegiate students to do in our last meeting was just like, for now, just make a folder, a notebook, capture your information somewhere where you're just really thinking about interesting topics that you might want to compete with, that you might want to present with. We didn't want to like freak them out, with a competition. So for now, they're really just brainstorming, but I'll just note on the side, today, one of my classes did their final presentations for the class. They were phenomenal. So I just used that as an opportunity to say, hey, more people want to hear this stuff. I will work with you, and then gave them this, this information that if they wanted to share it somewhere else more broadly. So if you have those final projects happening now, you might want to consider, letting them know about this additional opportunity. So I'll just run through these super quickly, but some of the choices have specific topics aligned to them. And I have a link that I'll put in the chat where this information comes from. But like with public speaking, it tells you a little bit about what they're looking for in this competition as far as like what the judges are looking for. But for a lot of these, it's going to be related to COVID. So this is talking about learning loss, needs that were unaddressed, and kind of what that means. So that's the public speaking. So just be aware that some of these do have like specific topics tied to them. So public speaking is the first one. The creative lecture TED Talk. The topic is meeting students' social and emotional needs during the pandemic. Impromptu speaking is kind of like your students who are just have an interest in teaching in general and are open and excited to just being given a topic and being able to speak on it. We know that everybody is an aspiring educator. All of us would probably stumble through a few topics. It's totally fine. We really are just so excited to be a space to share learning and excitement and passion for education. And then the Educators Rising moment is a chance for you to share your why. Why are you choosing a career in education? Why do you choose to become an educator and enter into this field? And so Micah, I think, put this slide together. So she put a little talk. If you haven't seen this one, Start With Why from Simon Sinek. It's a great reminder of like reconnecting with your why. So like I said, whenever I'm finished sharing my screen, I'll put the link to the all of the conference competition guidelines from the larger organization. I'll put it in there. But this is just kind of an overview of what each of those is going to look like. Whoops, sorry. So yeah, here's the save the date. Friday, March 11th, again from 8:30 to 4. It is in the UL Lafayette Student Union. The rooms are all reserved. Like I said, we're still working out. We have a pretty good idea of the schedule. We're still working on speakers. We are hoping that we are going to offer 3 different sort of keynotes, different kinds of keynotes, but 3 different ones at the beginning, middle, and end of the conference. And we're really trying to put the competitions on the front end of the conference so that hopefully we'll be able to announce the winners by the end. Not sure if that'll work out. I'll defer to Amy and Jesse, who have done this before, to see if that's even possible. But that's what we're hoping to do. So we really hope it's a wonderful time. We would love to, go for a celebration after for all of our leaders, if anybody plans on staying around and staying in town. And most of all, we just really hope that everyone feels welcome, and we really want there to be a strong presence of Louisiana's future educators. Parking, by the way, comes with the union, so there is a parking garage designated for parking, so that was super exciting because it's hard to park on campus sometimes. And I believe so. Our team is meeting tomorrow morning about the proposals, the conference proposals, registration, all of those things. So be on the lookout for more information. That should be coming very soon. All right, thanks.
All right. So, I know that that was lots of wonderful information. Does anybody have any questions about, let's start with the state conference at large, or the competitions, or anything that sort of has to do with logistics. And I will tell you that January, we're going to have another meeting that's completely centered on just competitions, just so you know. But are there any questions about the conference, or the role that it plays, or any other opportunities within conference itself?
I do have a registration question. You mentioned possibly $15. Is that for each student that attends and each teacher leader, or is that per group, or like how are you charging?
Yeah, so it's actually really for food. And so we are trying to provide lunch, so one meal. So it's, it will be for anybody in attendance is $10 or $15. So we'll try to make it as low as possible. If y'all have ideas for how to, I mean, if you think that it would be more doable if like the teacher leader doesn't have to pay, and we can kind of try to work that in or something, we're very open to doing whatever works for everybody.
Thank you.
I will interject here. This would be a great space. We've talked about this in meetings past, but again, I know that some of you are new. If you are having issues and you're like, oh man, $15 a kid, how are we gonna like get all of this together? Because for some populations that would be a pretty hefty thing, right? But this is an amazing place and time to be able to pull in somebody from the community. So communities, whenever they're trying to collaborate with schools and they want to really stake their claim as stakeholders, whenever you go with a very specific ask, it does wonders. So like, instead of, oh yeah, you should really help out our organization, it's, hey, we are going to be presenting and competing at state conference, and it would be really amazing if you could donate or provide or sponsor $500 for the student membership fee for us to be able to go to conference. Whenever you have a really specific ask, you'd be surprised, folks in the community who can really get behind that. And I make a joke, I think Miss Mayu's on the call, but our first year we took all the students to nationals, and the sheriff's office donated their bus. So the kids were like, we're going on the prison bus. It wasn't the prison bus. It was a very nice bus that's actually, I think, for like the officers. But that was like a really simple ask. Once you know what you're asking for and you're very specific, it's not like normal teacher things where we have to beg for like chart paper. It's not the same. It's very different whenever you go to the community and you have a very specific ask. So hopefully that helps whenever you think in terms of making sure that you've got $15 for each student.
Yeah, and
Those
I,
are
I promise we'll try to make it 10. We really are
even
trying
if it's
hard.
15,
I mean,
girl. Because
yeah,
knowing
well,
you'll go like get an extra job to pay the
I know,
difference.
it's like,
Don't do that, Amy. It's
no,
okay.
right.
15 is
Well,
okay.
right. But I do think what you're saying is so true. And there are so many people who, as soon as you say teacher shortage and we need more teachers, we need more amazing teachers, and I don't know, people are really looking for ways to get behind that, and they don't know what to do. And so if you can kind of say like, look, here's the problem. It's not just that we can't afford to go to, the conference. It's that we need more teachers and we need more amazing teachers. And this is an opportunity for them to be amongst like people who feel that way too, So, I mean, I wonder if there's a way to we could possibly help to just write like a draft of what that would look like in general, if that would help, and send it out, to a variety of chapters, if that would be helpful.
I think we could definitely do that. Does anybody else have a question about like this stage, about state conference, or high level in terms of competitions? All right. But again, in January, I'll have a really cool breakdown that I've been working on that's going to talk about the competitions, but also which lessons tie completely in if you want to be able to prep the class or prep the students without it being like this other thing that you're doing. And Miss Mayu's in the chat box and she says, yeah, they did. They really did donate the prison bus. But more than that, we do have some donation letters and we'd be happy to share those. So you just have to reach out. That's all you got to do. We can connect, keep building our resources. All right. So we hear you, Christine, loud and clear. We'll be able to send that out. Okay. So thank you so much, Amy. And you're going to be basically on every call, co-leading from here on out. But what I did want to share, I'm going to share the screen one more time and tell you a little bit about these other events that we've got. Okay. And we do see some more requests for a donation letter. And I'm happy, like if you email and you want to chat through your strategy or who in your community you could reach out to, I'm happy to do that as well. Okay. So looking here, the first things I'm going to say, and a couple of you have been in contact with email. So understand that because we're small, we're still starting. But whenever we say regional conferences, it is so much bigger than a competition. The competitions are cool and they're amazing. But what we really want, and everybody that's a collegiate partner understands this too, we want students to have exposure to as many campuses as possible. So whether they're competing or not, it's like, oh, wow, there's a competition. That's great. But there's also going to be this really cool conference that you could attend, and it's at LSUA, it's at Northwestern, it's at McNeese. So depending on where some of you are located, these are not big trips for you. I'm pretty centrally located in West Baton Rouge, so I'm going to take a look and see, like, could I bring students to all of these? And I'll let you know, Northwestern is the furthest for me, but the students will arrive at 5 a.m. and board the bus and sleep the whole way, sometimes changing on the bus, which is a different story before you get there. So whenever you think about regional conferences, number one, think of it in terms of exposure. But then the other thing is they each have competitions of their own. So it's not like beta, which I've been the beta sponsor and the 4-H sponsor as well. So it's coming from a place of experience. It's not so much that you're qualifying for state at this point, because you can totally not attend any of the regionals and still qualify for state. So don't think in those terms. But if students are attending regional, it gives them an amazing opportunity to be able to compete and understand what the field is like. And I think LSUA was the one that taught us that middle school students will dust you if you are not prepared. Because I remember I attended, I think it was 2019, LSUA had a regional conference, and it's like the legend of the middle schoolers. They swept all the public speaking categories and then went on to state and did the same thing. And that's back whenever collegiate and high school and middle school was just one category. It was really funny. I think it was funny. The students didn't think it was. But they should have prepared harder. That's competition, right? But in those terms, so think about that yes, each of these sites are offering competitions. Like you'll be able to find out a little bit more about each one, but it's bigger than that. They'll be able to expand their budding network. They'll be able to get excited. It kind of leads them up for that excitement for state. But I think even if you have no students right now, or if you've got 5 students right now, if you're a teacher leader or an advisor of a club, try to go to all 3, honestly. And if you need like agendas or letterhead to be able to ask for some time release for that, because the more you go to, the more confident you're going to feel, and the more you'll sort of see a lay of the land. So those of you that are on the call that are part of districts, you may be the district representative. This would be a nice place to include teachers of schools that maybe don't have the chapter yet, but you're trying to like entice them. Like you have people in mind and you just want to get a bigger team out. So you don't have to have students at this point. You could still attend. And that's actually where lots of folks get their chapters started, because there is programming for adults, for grown folks that are trying to figure out how to get this started, where everything else is really for the students to get them used to professional learning, which is very cool. I'm looking at the chat right now. Oh, and Amy just talked about the fact none of us do any of this alone. So she is talking about all the different students and their advisors that she's got, and it's absolutely right. So I do want to go ahead. I'm going to speak on behalf of Northwestern because Jesse couldn't be here. I'll give you a link to the slide deck right now, or whenever I'm done telling you the words. But Jesse just wanted me to remind everybody that February 16th is Northwestern's regional conference. And they're old hats. They actually started the state conference and then repeated it this past year with a partnership with ULM. And their conference is free, but it is limited to the first 200. So they've got grants together where it is free. And she wanted me to remind everybody that presentation proposals close tonight. So whether it's students, if you want to just sort of preempt a proposal, or as a teacher, or those of you that are on the call that represent colleges, your faculty, she just wants you to know that registration for the proposals themselves end tonight. And for those of you that's new to, competition's one piece. I think the most swell part of these conferences are actually the fact that I can't think of another conference that on the same program, you have high school students, teachers, college professors, and like outside vendors all presenting, and it's the same, and each are treated equally. And I think that's amazing. So if you have a proposal, an idea, definitely you can apply there. And then I'm going to turn it over. Let's see, I think Megan is here, and she's going to tell us a little bit about LSUA's conference that they're having January 14th.
Yes, ma'am. So I didn't see Dr. Duas on the call, and she is part of LSUA and helping with this initiative of doing this conference. But Rapides Parish School District's also partnering and funding this. But the conference is actually $50 per school. We're not charging per student per se. We're actually charging per school, only $50, whether you're bringing 50 kids or 10 kids, it's going to be $50 per school. We do intend on having the 5 different types of competition as UL, so we can get students obviously exposed to competition, but also get them prepped for state competition. We want them to get the jitters out and then be able to really blow it out of the water at the state level. We're hosting it at the Mega Shelter in Alexandria from 9 to 1. We intend to have 2 keynote speakers. One, our very own Miss Kimberly Eckert, and then Tori Hayward from the State Department will also be a part of the conference. So we have 2 amazing individuals that will be there to really help inspire and bring in the buy-in to really, be a part of education after high school. And so we have that. We do intend on doing an award ceremony as well. We're doing 1st through 3rd place. And of course, we're getting trophies and all that kind of stuff. We're trying to get together some monetary things as well. But we will be serving lunch on campus, and it's just going to be a bunch of fun things that day. And our theme is "The Future is Ours." So we're trying to keep that whole future aspect piece of it to everybody else's, but that is our theme, is "The Future is Ours."
All right. Sorry, I'm just writing it down. Okay. Thank you so much for that. And I think it speaks, every regional has got such a distinct personality, and I go to all of them. Like, I'm such a groupie of these events because they really do represent like the people and the college space and the culture and the need, and they're all completely different feels, even though we're all moving toward the same goal. In LSUA, it's large, lots and lots of energy, and it has by far, I think, the biggest age range in the conference. I think even more so than state conference does. So definitely super, super exciting. If you're anywhere remotely near, I would recommend going to LSUA's regional conference, be it with students or as a grown-up who's just trying to save the world. It's fine. You're also welcome there. All right. And with that,
oh, by the way, speaking about age differences there, Kimberly, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but we do have 6th grade to 12th grade children coming. So just know we've got a water in.
The biggest thing that jumped out, and it's perfect. Like, it all just flows and makes sense to see all of the children. Like, it's amazing. So
All right,
well
sorry,
done.
I won't
I'm
interrupt
really,
again.
oh, you can interrupt all the time, because if I'm not interrupted, then I could turn into all kinds of foolishness. I definitely need to be checked. All right, let's see. Yes, very, very cool. And then is there somebody from McNeese? There is somebody from McNeese. I'm just trying to, be kind.
That would be me.
Katie?
It's me, Katie.
Hey, Katie.
So my name is Katie Williams. I'm the Director of Clinical Practices at McNeese State University, and myself and Lori Benoit are putting kind of together the conference collaboratively this year. Our theme is innovation in education, and we believe that that looks different. It's innovation in student participation, in leadership, in technology, that could include equity and diversity in education. And so we hope that our conference really shows what innovation beyond just what we think of as STEM or technology in education. We really strive for hands-on sessions that really highlight what teaching is, and that passion these students come to our conference with. So we not only do the Ed Rising competitions, but we have a lot of hands-on sessions that show the multifaceted profession of education. And so we're really excited this year to have our Unlock Education event.
Thank you so much. And this is another one that has such a distinct personality. Um, Amazing focus and integration for learning technology. So the fact that they name it Unlock Education, there's like an emphasis on like breakouts, and I think really authentic but non-traditional avenues for education. And then I still have students that learned how to do like movie trailers about education. So I feel like we create, like, I think McNeese is the space where you actually go to conference and you become a creator, not a consumer of ed tech. So again, very, very different feel. Also super, super cool. So thank you so much, Katie.
Thank
And
you. It is free. I just wanted to say it is free for anybody that registers, and it will be from 8:30 to 1:30.
okay, and I can update that right now.
No problem.
Okay, 8:30 to 1:30. Oh, and you can see where Kim had shortcuts. Okay, so I'm updating this as we go. Conference is free. Okay. And yes, links to everything. And if you even search your email, as I've gotten flyers, I've sent them out to everybody within Ed Rising Louisiana. But definitely, I can compile an email after this meeting and send this slide deck, and then all of the flyers that you could link directly and register for those things. So that should be super helpful. And then Dr. Weems, can I turn it over to you, because ULM is announcing that they also have a regional conference.
Yes, and I'm sorry I haven't sent it already. I'm trying to get my life together after the fall semester. So we will have our ULM campus visit day, which is kind of our equivalent of the regional conference. It'll be 9 to 2 on February 3rd. We will send out the information. I'll get that to you pretty quickly, Kim, and thank you for getting that out. It will be free, and the theme will be changing lives through education, because it is the ULM 90th anniversary, and that is the theme for this year.
Love it. So like working it into the, oh, y'all been doing events all year. Like you've been doing events this whole year about like the celebration.
Yes, we did the 3rd grade reading project. There'll be the freshman class of 2031, the centennial freshman class. Yes, so all that ties together, and we will incorporate that into our campus visit day.
That's awesome. And I would go out on a limb and say that there's probably going to be really great supports for teacher leaders there. The entire region around ULM were some really early adopters and have teachers rocking it out. So wealth of information in a million different ways. So I think that's going to be another cool one, whether you've got students or not, to be able to attend. So, okay, looking in the chat. A preview day. We're getting way too cool for school. Like I can't even. Yeah,
That
go
was,
ahead, Amy.
it just so happened to be the very next day. So the recruitment office was like, oh my gosh, we're having a preview day the very next day. So just a thought, if anybody, wanted to on their own with a family member or something, stay the weekend, then they could do the preview day the next day too.
That is pretty cool to be able to reach out like to our students, like, hey, if you're interested in UL and your parents are there, you can also extend or whatever it might be.
Right.
And I love that, yeah, there's a swamp in the middle of campus.
Yes, with alligators. Yes.
With, you said swamp, so I just figured.
Yeah, and you can see it from the Union. So that's where the conference will be. So if that's a selling factor, and all of y'all's talk about your conferences being free, I'm going to go back to the,
Oh
drawing.
my God, it's okay. It's okay. But it's $15, Amy. It's okay. We got this. It's totally fine. All right. So in winding down, and we're going to open for questions in just a second, but I wanted to remind everybody that if you've got any pictures or anything, I know that you're sharing it on your school site, but also know that at all times, we're trying to tie together all of the chapters and really make a footprint. So you have a tiny footprint whenever you're sharing with your school network. You have a much larger footprint if you're sharing with Ed Rising Louisiana, because that's where it matters that you're getting like a Regions Bank or you're getting Dream Teachers. So you cast a much wider net whenever you're sharing what's happening with the state. So if you've got pictures or anything, you could either tag Ed Rising Louisiana, it's literally Ed Rising LA, or you can just email me pictures and I will post that on your behalf. So whenever I do post things from different like Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, don't think that I'm like playing favorites. I'm just playing who's sending me stuff. So make sure that you do that. I'm pretty sensitive about that. I don't want to look like I'm, a groupie for one school more than another. I'm a groupie for all, but sometimes I not know the things. So you have to share that or just tag so that I can retweet or repost. And other folks within our network are happy to do that too. You see, you've got a very vibrant and supportive network. You just have to plug into it. So with that, do we have any questions about regionals or attendance or very like kind of high level things that have to do with competitions or anything like that? All right, for me, adequate wait time is 10 seconds past where it starts to be awkward. So
I have one question just about.
there we go.
Yes. Like when do you think, so we made sure that we have enough room to be able to cap at 500 total.
Mm-hmm.
So, but at the same time, like we don't want to order, like at what point do you think, I guess maybe after your regional conferences, like, is there something that you could use from us to be able to promote the state conference at the regional conference? Or I'm just trying to get like an idea.
Yeah, definitely like cards, like, postcards, whether they're digital or not, sort of save the date.
Okay.
If there's a slide that you would like folks to include at regionals, you could reach out. And definitely those at any of the regional spaces understand that like connectivity and like promoting each other is definitely what we are doing. So I would think that like if there's a flyer or if regionals can close with, and we can't wait to see you all at our state conference, it's going to be, so I think that.
Okay.
Yes, Christine, the slide deck will be emailed and I just put it in the chat as well. It's right here if you want to click, if you don't want to wait in case I forget, which I won't, I'm going to do it. But you can see that. But I think that would be good if each regional space could then at the end like close with a plug for a conference.
Okay.
But any type of save the date or an easy flyer, I think is really easy.
Yes, and we should have the call and all that soon. So I'll try to send all of that out together so that if you can incorporate it into your regional, that would be great.
That sounds good. Okay. I don't know if we have any other questions. You're welcome to stay on, but our next meeting is going to be whatever this Monday is, if it's the first or second Monday, so the same time, but Monday in January. And like I said, I'll be pulling together some really great sort of tools for you to be able to think through competition with in a way that really complements your club or your class without it being like a million extra things to have to plan. So that, I promise you, that's the tease for January. All right, do you have any other questions? Okay, then I would like to say good night. And if anybody needs to stay on, I could stay on another couple minutes. If you've got some secret questions that you would like to ask once everyone else is gone, that would be great. Thank you, Colette. Great, thank you all, and just good night. Take care of yourselves. Make good choices. Be kind. We can tell students.